What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. This one is going to be pretty tough. I'm going to be talking about my childhood trauma. So if that makes you uncomfortable or triggers you in any way, please click off of this video and I will see you in the next one. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Jess. I'm a person in long-term recovery who has served time in prison, and my entire crazy life story is in the description box down below. If you want to follow me on any other social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Patreon, that's $2. It's only ever gonna be $2. All of it is linked down below, as well as my podcast. And I am a proud partner with Groups Recover Together, which is a both in-person and online treatment program that lends on harm reduction and is 420 friendly and will help you with anything they can possibly help you with. It's an amazing team of people. All of it is in the description box, as well as my hotline number with them. But without further ado, let's kick this thing off. So this is a video that I have put off filming for 3 years, and the reason being is because I don't want to hurt my mom or upset my mom in any way. And Mama Kent, it's not her name, I know you're watching and I love you so much, so please do not send any hate her way. Don't say anything negative in the comment section about Mama Kent. We will come for you. The Ride or Die crew will come for you. As I have become more comfortable on screen and with you guys and with sharing my story on the internet, I've shared more things. Slowly but surely. I'm kind of like an onion, you know, you have to peel me back one layer at a time. And this is one of those instances where I wasn't sure if I was ever going to share this story. And to be completely honest, I don't even know when I'm gonna post this video. I think this is a very important piece of my story. I have shared many times that I was a very angry, very violent kid with a chip on her shoulder and had a bad attitude, and I was very rude and I was very mean and I was all of these things. But why? Where did that come from? In my adult life, as I've worked through my past traumas, I have been able to understand the core of my addiction and the core of my anger and the core of my personality, and I've been able to understand myself. And I strongly recommend therapy to literally everyone. It's just amazing to have someone to talk to and to understand how your brain works and how to cope with certain things like anxiety or depression or something as severe as PTSD. So highly recommend therapy. Now, as you may or may not be aware, I grew up in Section 8 housing and we moved around a lot. We were constantly getting evicted from place to place. I was moved from town to town, school district to school district. I would start a school year in one town, go to a different one, go back to the first town. We were really just all over the place, and over time it got really bad. When I was about 8 or 9 years old, my mom had a massive stroke, and she was not able to care for me in the way that she necessarily wanted to, and she had to rely on other people to come in. Because of our insurance, or whatever reason, we couldn't have a home health aide there every day, or we couldn't have a nurse there every day. So at 8 or 9 years old, I was already like staying home from school and helping my mom because my mom had lost, the feeling and the use of her left side, and she had to regain that, and she also had to learn how to speak again. This was a very long and very difficult process for her, as you can imagine. As a child, I didn't understand the severity of what she was going through, nor did I understand how long-term this would be. So because we didn't have a nurse there all the time, my mom had a couple of friends that would come over and care for us, care for me and my younger sister. They would do things like cook dinner and, just basic things around the house and help my mom. My mom's friend's husband took it upon himself to discipline me. Now that meant that he would spank me, sometimes with his hand if that's all he had, but eventually the spankings or beatings got so severe, he made a paddle, and it was about this thick, and it was like a paddle. And he would carry it around like Negan from The Walking Dead, and he was just so about it. And anytime that I would get out of line, I would be spanked with this paddle. Now, when this was first going on, I wasn't hit that hard. It was traditional spanking, 5 to 10 slaps on the butt, and it didn't leave any marks. I just want to pause here and say that I don't personally believe in physical force when dealing with small children. I think it does a lot of psychological damage, and I think there are a million other ways to discipline a child rather than spanking them or slapping them or hitting them or physically hurting them. I don't believe in that at all. And I know a lot of people say like, well, I was spanked and I turned out okay. You're justifying abuse. And I know the 80s were very different than today, but I just don't necessarily agree with that line of thinking. Parent however you want. But it's just something that I'm very passionate about, and I will not hit a child. Moving on. Slowly but surely, the spankings got worse and worse and worse. The first time that it got really bad, I was probably 10. My mom's friend got out of control and he hit me a few times on my upper back and on my legs, and I had bruising. And it was bad and it hurt, you know, and it took some time to heal. After that moment where I was hit with this paddle so many times and so hard that it left severe bruising, after that is when that became a pretty normal thing for me. It became just a regular experience. You know, if I had done something wrong or I had talked back or I got out of line, I was spanked with this paddle to the point where I would have welts or bruising on my, not just my butt, but on my legs and on my back. That was a very normal thing. And I had become accustomed to that in a sense. The final time that this happened, I think I was 10 or 11 years old, and I was beat severely with this paddle, so severely that I was actually bleeding. The welts started to bleed. I had bruising halfway up my back and almost to my knees. I mean, it was my whole back, my butt, my legs, and my back. And it was just so bad. I had welts, bruising, and I was bleeding. I was so bad that my mom, you know, saw how bad it was, and I had to sit in an ice bath. I will never forget sitting in that ice bath, naked, sitting in ice, freezing cold, hoping that I can walk regular, hoping that this does not leave scars, sitting in this bathtub thinking like, is this my life? Can I just do nothing right? Does no one love me? I might as well not even be on this earth. I didn't understand suicidal thoughts at that time, nor did I understand the trauma that I was going through because I was so young, but I knew that I didn't want to be here. I knew that I felt like I couldn't do anything right and I felt like a failure. And I knew that even though I was going through this immense trauma, I knew that I couldn't tell anyone about it because they would take me out of my mom's home. I had to grow up so fast. I didn't have a childhood. I don't remember really any positivity from my childhood. I remember being very poor, not having food, my mom being very sick, my mom's friends punishing me the way that they did. That all led to this chip on my shoulder, this anger and resentment, and by 13, I was completely out of control. I started drinking at 12 years old, and I moved into my dad's house when I was 13. I was afraid to tell anyone about this abuse. Even my mom, I was afraid to talk about it with my mom. By that time, I knew that she struggled with mental health, but I didn't really know. Like, I knew that she would be sad and sleep for days, but I didn't really know why. Now looking back, I have a better understanding of her mental health and her situation at the time than I ever did, obviously, at 12 and 13. I had no real concept for what she was going through. When I first moved in with my dad, I didn't talk to my mom for almost a year. I just didn't want to answer her calls. I didn't want to talk to her. I was very bitter, very angry, very resentful. And it took time for my mom and I to mend our relationship. I remember, you know, living with my dad and my stepmom, going to school, and at the end of the day, my dad would tell me, hey, your mom called today, do you want to call her back? And I would just tell him, no, I don't want to call her. I had such a darkness inside of me, and I was just so closed off from anyone. I wouldn't let anyone get close to me. And anytime there was outside noise, whether that was in the form of kids bullying me for my clothes or bullying me for my teeth or bullying me for this reason, I would lash out and I would want to fight someone because I just carried this anger with me and this resentment and this bitterness, and it was so heavy. Over time, my alcohol addiction turned into pill addiction, pills turned to heroin, heroin turned to meth, and I spent almost 10 years in active addiction. The last time I used was October 20th of 2011. So I am almost 10 years in my recovery. And I'm so proud of the progress that I made, but I am forever working on myself and my mental health. I'm forever trying to understand myself, understand other people's situation, and help people through these things. And the reason why I'm sharing this story with you guys today is because I think so many people can relate to what I'm saying. I can't change my past. but I can make sure that I give my children a life that they don't have to recover from, that I give them a childhood and happiness and peace and emotional intelligence, and I give them all the tools they need to be adults, which they're growing up so fast. That is how I make peace with my past, by raising children who don't need to heal from theirs. And if you've gone through severe child abuse and trauma in your past, please know that you are not alone, and that I have too gone through that, and it was a huge part of why I was just such an angry, distant, cold person. I want to end today's video with saying that our trauma is not our fault, but healing is our responsibility, and if we don't heal our trauma, we will bleed on people that did not cut us. I'm gonna end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay in recovery, whatever that looks like to you. Please don't send any hate to Mama Kent, and I will see y'all in my next one.